Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the 1 Point Safety Show with myself, Scott Hartley, and my amazing co-host, Scouse Andy. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. How are things with yourself?
All good, mate. Happy New Year. I'll start you off with that one. You know what I mean?
Ah,
It's not
you
too
too,
early
mate.
yet. It's only the second, so we can still get away with that. Yeah, I just want to first point out, cheers to StreamYard for now putting all our stuff under a section called Media Assets. So apologies for the slow start there. I was looking for it the stream. And I was thinking, hang on, what's going on here? But yeah, all good, man. We're all good at my end. I'm glad you're well as well. So long
Yeah,
Christmas
man.
period, and it's nice to be back podcasting. So yeah, we've got lots to talk about. Brian in the chat, as always, thank you for being with us, mate. Happy New Year to you too. Yeah, we'll start off with our sponsors as always, mate. We are Dunstable Town FC's Talk of the Town podcast sponsor this season. Go across and check them out on YouTube. You'll find Talk of the Town. They talk about all things non-league football and also about general football in and around. So go and give them a listen, a watch and subscribe. We're also graciously sponsored by Oddballs. You can go across to myoddballs.com. They've got some New Year's sales, so go across and have a look at what they've got on there. And we're also sponsored by Fusion Therapeutics. You can find them at fusiontherapeutics.co.uk. They provide expert MSK assessments and treatments with a focus on holistic care, dedicated to improving your well-being through tailored musculoskeletal health plans. The team offers specialist injection therapy and non-medical independent prescribing. So if you're in the Northwest, Manchester or the Cheshire area, call the team on 01606 512 013, or you can book online and the team will be happy to advise you further on this affordable medical treatment solution. One of these days, mate, I will not butcher that. I promise you. But there you go. It's all good.
Uh,
We'll get into a bit of news then, mate, before we start. So, roster moves. There's been a few roster moves. We've activated the 21-day window for Austin Eckler, which is obviously great news to have him back in the running back room. I know Deluxe asked a question about the running back room, so that will help, no doubt, and we'll get into that. We also released defensive tackle Phil Mathis since we last podcasted. He has since been picked up by the Jets. Which is a bit of a strange one because the Jets were also interviewing Ron Rivera today, which is a strange one. So you've got three ex-commanders over there. You've got Jamin Davis, Greg Joseph, and you've got Phil Mathis now, all on the active 53. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on Phil Mathis going then?
well, I mean, it's a tough one, man, because he's a second rounder, and we just wasted that pick. It's a shame. It's a shame that it never worked out for him. But you could see the writing was on the wall for him, especially when the guys like Sheldon Day and Carl Davis, I think it is. Is that Carl Davis?
Yep, Carl Davis
Yeah,
and
Carl
Sheldon
Davis.
Day have
These
been
guys,
making,
these
yeah,
guys were
making
ahead
bigger
of him in the
splashes.
pecking order, and you think, "Can wait there a minute? This is not looking good for him." So obviously, he definitely wasn't suited to our scheme, and fair enough. I mean, another one with a bust. I hope he
Yeah.
does well over at the Jets, but yeah, man. I mean, it's annoying, really. It's annoying because we know we can't always nail every single draft pick. We know that, but for your second rounders, you expect performances. Do you know what I mean? You expect quality players, and if you don't get it right there, man, you are poor at drafting. And Warren Rivera's proven that he's poor at drafting.
Yeah, I also think the emergence of Johnny Newton as well, being a second round draft pick, probably should have gone in the first round somewhere. To be fair, looking at how he's come on this season as well, hasn't helped Phil Mathis out at all from that D tackle spot. So yeah, best of luck to Phil moving on, and we wish him well over at the Jets or wherever he ends up playing. And thanks for your contributions, even though it was very short. We watched his debut, mate, and he played about 5 snaps and got injured. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, there you
End of
go.
the season, didn't it? Yeah. I mean,
He did
as I say,
indeed.
that's the other thing. He had two season-ending injuries, didn't he, in his
Yeah.
first two seasons? So it's not good, man. It's not good.
Another bit of news then, the Pepsi Rookie of the Week, Jaden Daniels, yet again. I mean, that's 11 times now. That award is basically his, you know what I mean? So I know it's a fan voted award, but it's one of them where you've got to mention it if it's come out. And then the Pro Bowl nominations came out today, Scouse. We got two definite all starting people in the Pro Bowl. That is Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. Both of them got in, and there was also 11 alternates that got in. I'm not going to go through the list of alternates, like first alternate, sixth alternate. It's just a waste of time. If people get injured, or they're playing in the Super Bowls, then fair enough. You know what I mean? We might have a few more commanders turn out in the Pro Bowl games, but I don't put much attention to Pro Bowl. It's great for them as players because going into contract negotiations, etc. for them.
Bingo.
That's exactly what they're after.
And that's exactly what it's for. I mean, at the end of the day now, it's at least beforehand, a few years back, it was at least you get a game out of it, like a real actual NFL game. Now it's just it's tag football. It's what I mean. So it's not even a real game. So I don't watch it. I don't watch it since they've changed the rule. Since he changed it up. And as I say, for you mentioned there about contracts, it's exactly what it's for. It's bonuses. A lot of these guys have got these things written in their contracts. They make the Pro Bowl, they get X amount of money extra, and that's all. And that's all it's for now. Because at the end of the day, the players don't. I don't think they care about the Pro Bowl. They care about All Pro because it's fellow professionals. That's different. But Pro Bowl, nobody cares.
I think there is an element of coaching voting in this and professionals as well. It's not all fan voted, but the fan vote I think is heavily weighted in this one. So yeah, it's gone right downhill probably since I would say the turn of the 2020s. When you got into there, it's kind of went downhill from there onwards. It became less of a spectacle. People weren't even watching it, and now I don't think I've watched a Pro Bowl in about 6 years. Not even looked at it. I've never even thought about it at all. And I thought, well, there you go. I mean, do I want to see people throwing things into balls into hoops and stuff like that? I'm not really that bothered about that in any way, shape, or form. We'll get onto the reviews then that we've missed. So we missed the Philly week. So week 16 review versus Philly was a win, 36-33. Great win, obviously against division rival. What can we say about that? There was a lot went on in that game, but I probably want to skip over that, to be fair. What were your thoughts initially on the Philly game? Anything
my
stand
initial
out
thought
for you?
is, fuck Philly. That's my initial thoughts.
There you go.
That's all it needs, bro. That's all it needs. They're scared of us now.
Unbelievably so. They're still going on about it on social media now. Yeah. I mean, I've heard all sorts this week. I've heard you've got a fourth place schedule. Your strength of schedule was shit. Well, even though, if you look at
even though theirs is weaker than ours, by the way.
Exactly that. Their strength of schedule is weaker than ours. I mean, I've heard you only played Kenny Pickett. Well, I didn't realise that Kenny Pickett played on the number one defense in the league at the time, which we were still able. Yeah, which we were still able to put 36 points on. You know what I mean? And you're like, hang on a minute. I mean, I've got some points here. Diving forwards.
Before that, did they even put like 30 up against Dallas with the third stringer? Mm-hmm. And they're not saying anything about them, are they?
No.
No, why? Because we beat them, and so they know that we've got a real one. So, and that's why they're shitting it, mate. That's why they're shitting it.
I think individual mistakes made the difference from the Eagles' point of view. I mean, looking at it here, Jalen Hurts got hurt. Great. It happens in games. I'm not saying it's great that he got hurt. That's not what I'm getting at. I mean, would it be better if we faced Jalen Hurts and still won? Probably. But you don't dive forward. What are you diving forward for? If you don't dive forward and he slides, he's not going to get injured there. Lattimore PI calls. He had a whole drive where he was penalised on every drive. You know what I mean? And what did they get out of that drive? They got 3 points. Didn't get a touchdown. So what does that tell you? 12 men on the field for the OZ touchdown. You know what I mean? There are 12 men on the field there, so there's a penalty straight away. The false start on Lucas, I've seen them crying about that as well on the final drive. Have we watched Lane Johnson this year? He's offside every single snap without a shadow of a doubt. I've heard people kicking off about the hit from Percy Butler, the no call on Kenny Pickett. Oh, he hit Kenny Pickett. It was nowhere near him. Please watch it back. And then you've got an absolute idiot of a man in CJ Gardner-Johnson. Now, fair play to him. He went out and got an interception last week against the Cowboys. But don't spit in Diami Brown's face. Don't give it the big un. Don't go out and start flipping the bird to the fans, and you won't get ejected from a game. It's quite straightforward, really.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. To be fair, I don't get me wrong. I like a little bit of trash talk. It shows that they're motivated and they really give a shit about that game. But in general, I'd be like, well, Spitting's obviously going way too far. He should be instantly ejected for that. Never mind the two kind of personal foul, whatever he got, personal, whatever it's called, to get the penalties to get ejected. It's yeah, man. There's a line there. Do you know what I mean? Then he crossed it. Then and to be fair, if my teammate got spat in the face, I'd have ran over and chinned that fella, or at least tried to.
Yeah, you know
what I mean. So because it's a scummy thing to do. It's more than like, even cheap shotting somebody. It's worse than that for me. Spitting in somebody's face. You deserve a punch in the head for that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just how it is, and that's just a scummy thing to do.
I mean, Jesse's saying here that in the chat, though, they absolutely care about the Pro Bowl, going back to the Pro Bowl point. Yeah, they do. I agree that players care about the Pro Bowl, but they care about it from a contract point of view.
Yeah,
they don't care about it necessarily for what they're doing in the Pro Bowl. No,
why the hell would they want to play in these Pro Bowl games? Why would you want to play when you've played like 15 games? You battered to fuck. You want to go, oh, you know what? I want to play again. Of course you don't. You want the money, you want the kudos that comes with it, but you don't want to play. Let's face it, that's all they give a shit about is the money that comes with it. That's all. And potential recognition. That's it.
Yeah. It is about recognition though as well. It helps you case if you're going to be a potential Hall of Famer down the line. Do you know what I mean? If you can say, well, he was Pro Bowler.
Yeah, but the thing is though, you look at a list of players and you think about Hall of Famers, you think about how many All Pros there've been. That's what you really look at. Yeah, it's nice if you've got, a few Pro Bowls as well. But if you haven't got any All Pros, you're not going anywhere. So it's all about the All Pro.
All Pro is the one, though. That is the one, though. We'll get into Week 17, then we'll skip forward a bit. The review of Week 17 against Atlanta. We won that game, obviously, as well. 11-5 now. We clinched the playoffs. Who did they ever keep you holding on? You know what I mean? It was a nervy one. You looked at it and thought to yourself, hang on a minute, are we going to get this done? I mean, what were your feelings about the overtime win at 30-24 against the Falcons, mate?
I thought first half they were showing, as in Atlanta was showing really good defense. I thought they were showing different ways that Jaden was struggling with a few things. The kind of the interception from the linebacker Ellis. I mean that was a superb actual play call. Fooled Jaden big time with that one. He'll learn from it. But in general, I mean, after the second half started, that's when we really started taking control, and we knew we had to keep Bijan off the field. We had to keep him off the field. So what did we do? We started doing these ridiculous long drives that we were supposed to have done from the first part of the game, but we didn't. And we said we started eating the clock. We do exactly what we said we should do: run the ball, long drives, keep them off the field, and that's what we did. And then I thought we took control. I know it got a bit frantic near the end again, but we were in control of that kind of like for most of the second half. I know they had a chance to win it with a field goal, 55-yarder or whatever. But I knew he wasn't going to get it because Patterson doesn't have the leg. Like he was right down the middle with it, but he just hasn't got the power to reach it. So I was like, 55 yards is a bit too much for him. We've seen him play for us. We know anything past 45, he's erratic. You know what I mean? So, I was like, I think you'll miss this. And I'm lucky enough he didn't have the leg to do it. But yeah, man, what do you think?
Two things I will bring up here that's not necessarily Commanders is I think Michael Penix Jr. had a great game. There'll be some shots there, throws that he'll want back for certain. But to go on a 4th and 11 to Drake London out to the sideline when you have to get that done was a great throw. And then on 4th and 13 to throw for a touchdown to Kyle Pitts it takes balls, man. And that's his first ever away game as well. When everything's on the line, when your team need to try and get into the playoffs. I thought he had a great game. And he's probably the future of that franchise looking at it from that perspective. Kirk's done. Unfortunately, and that's how it goes. Penix is now in the driving seat in Atlanta. Also for what's the corner called who absolutely locked down Terry McLaurin. Cannot remember his name for the life of me now.
AJ Terrell.
AJ Terrell, thank you, mate. Unbelievable. Great player.
He's a very good corner.
Fantastic.
You know, he's a very good corner. And don't forget,
Fantastic.
they had two All-Pro. They had two previous All-Pros up against them.
With Jesse Bates as well.
Yeah. So, and they were double teaming Terry a lot. That's the reason why he didn't do shit. Let's be honest. You know, he got cover blanket by both of them. End of story. But that took away the two main guys on defense, and that allowed Ozzy and Crowder to do something. And they did, and they showed up for us. And Zach Ertz as well, for example. You know, those guys. If Jesse Bates is not around, you know, if we didn't have a good receiver on one side, Jesse Bates had been available for most of the time against Ertz, and he wasn't. As simple as that. And the reason why Ertz got yak as well, which we never see. You know,
we don't see him very often.
So McLaurin does a lot more, even though he didn't do shit with the stats, because he didn't. He hardly did anything.
Yeah.
But he occupied two top draw defenders, and that's all. Right. And that's all it needs. If your other guys are just about stepping up, it gets you results, and that's exactly what happened. So
looking at the stats then, so Jaden Daniels was 24 of 36, 227 yards, 3 TDs, 1 INT, had a QBR of 75.9. Daniels was also our highest rusher with 127 yards. Brian Robinson was next on the stat sheet for rushing 60 yards off 13 carries. Then it was Chris Rodriguez for 5 carries, 16 yards and 1 TD. Then if we get into the old receiving side of it, Olamide Zacchaeus was our highest receiver, as you just mentioned. 8 receptions for 85 and a touchdown. Zach Ertz was 6 receptions for 72 and 2 tutties. And then it was Jamison Crowder with 25 yards off 3 carries. We also had a fumble. Crowder fumbled, but he didn't lose it. He just recovered it. And then we also had Kwon with the interception for 29 yards. That was awesome to start off. You know, that's exactly what you want to see. And then on the defensive side, our highest tackler was Quan Martin on the day with 7 solos, 8 in total, 2 pass deflections, and obviously that interception as well. And then it was Mike Davis with 6 solo tackles. Bobby Wagner, he got 6 tackles, none of them were solo tackles, and then Jeremy Chin had 2 solo tackles. So who stood out for you in this game? And what went good, what went bad? I mean, anything stand out for you particularly in this game?
I mean, it just shows that when it comes down to it, Jaden's got what it takes to get us over the line. That's the biggest takeaway for most of this whole season. You know, he's had so many fourth quarter comebacks already. It's only his first season.
I think is that five with a
four.
With
I thought it was 4, but it could be 5.
It's 5 with a touchdown in the last 30 seconds of a game, which is just crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's clutch. That's the money area. That's why everyone loves Matt Stafford for those comebacks that he always did at Detroit and at the Rams as well. You know, that's what it's about. It's about bringing your team from the brink of loss to the brink of winning, or to win, should I say? So, and you know, there's obviously still things to iron out with Jaden. I don't like him running for 100+ yards, even though we needed him. We need him to, because we had no run game. Yet again, that's one of the bad things. Our run game has been 0 over the past few weeks. Besides Jaden. If it wasn't for Jaden's legs, we would have no run game at all. I mean, we probably would have lost a lot of the games if we had a Kirk Cousins there who can't run. I think we'd have lost most of these games we've won over the past 4 weeks, because he can't run for shit. You know, he's a statue back there. You know, and you know we needed his legs, and I think that's how so important Jaden is. He's just that damn good, and it's amazing to see from a rookie quarterback who's I say he's played 15 games. 15 games now?
Yeah, the maturity is just ridiculous. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm enjoying Sundays. I'm enjoying watching the games.
Of course, man. He doesn't like us winning. Man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a novel thing to be sitting there going, "Oh man, I'm looking forward to this Sunday." You know, we've potentially got playoffs, or we've got this. And to turn this team around from a 4-win team to now being on 11, potentially 12 wins, which we'll get into, is just unbelievable. And I got the feeling on last Sunday when we watched the game that I asked you in the chat, because I hadn't seen it, was who won the toss, and you said, "Oh, we did." And I went, "Oh, right, brilliant." as soon as I knew that and I sat down and I saw Jaden, I just went, we're not going to lose this game. We are not going to lose this game. There was no way he was giving that ball up. And I just never felt in my mind that we were ever going to be out of losing that game. Whether it was we're going to kick a field goal and then hold, or whether we were going to, drive for the touchdown, which eventually, obviously, we did to Zach Ertz. It just felt different. It felt like he is, the last two games especially, with the Eagles and this Falcons game, he's just put the team on his back completely and gone, do you want to get in the playoffs? I'll drag you there if I have to. And that's seemingly what he's done. So mature for a rookie. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, he's older. I get that. He's 24. But even so, what a pickup. And he's been unbelievable. We've got a real one, man, as you said earlier.
Yeah, we've got a real one. And, if you want to compare it, people kept comparing it to Caleb and all the rest of it. Caleb's not the same class as Jaden Daniels. Not yet, anyway. No, he's not at that level. And yet he was picked first. So what's that tell you? Bears picked Paulie. They're probably upset about it. They're probably upset seeing what Jaden's doing for us and what's happening over at the Bears. They're probably upset with all that. And then obviously, even Bo Nix had a good game, a good season as well, and he's
had a great season.
8th or 9th, something like that, or 12, something like that.
I mean, if you look at it in the rounds, and we look at where we are with how we've picked up. I mean, Jaden's got to be in the conversation. I said no the other day on the Bleeding Burgundy podcast because it's always down to names, but he's got to be in a conversation for MVP, surely, because he'll get votes. I think he will get votes because if you think about the actual term, most valuable player, is Lamar Jackson the most valuable player at Baltimore? With the cast that surrounds him, is the big galoot, Josh Allen, is he the most valuable player at Buffalo? If you took Josh Allen out of that team and you put somebody else in there, would he work? Sam Darnold's going to get some looks probably as well. I don't think with the cast around Jaden, he's not got the same cast. That's something there.
Oh, big time! Yeah, I mean, I'd say he's definitely in the top 5. Realistically, you're trying to compare him to Lamar and Allen because they're the main two guys who are going to be up for MVP realistically. So, and Saquon would be nice as well. It's a good story, but yeah. And Scott Jesus mentioned it without Josh Allen in the team. At the end of the day, Josh Allen is hitting 40 touchdowns. He's hitting 40 touchdowns, either running it or passing it as himself. So that's how important he is. Now, flip that to us. Jaden's 30 in total, I think, or 31 in total. 25 passes, 6 touchdowns running. Now don't get me wrong, that's excellent. Don't get me wrong, but it's not Josh Allen excellent. And that's the thing, you see. It's kind of like, yes, Bills have better players. Yes, they do have better players. But without Josh, they're screwed. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Lamar as well, to be honest. If Lamar was out of Baltimore's team and, whoever went in there, yeah, they might do okay for 1 or 2 games, but they're not going to put 40 up there. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously if Jaden goes down, we've got Mariota. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
The level drops massive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's exactly what Jesse just said here. We would suck way more without JD. 100% agree with you. I think you're probably looking at 5 to 6 wins maximum, absolute maximum, if you don't have Jaden Daniels in this team. I mean, what's really good is I don't think it really matters about this QB class that came out this year. I think all of them are going to have really good careers. Penix looks good. Drake Mays look good.
Penix one of my favourite quarterbacks coming out.
I know. I remember you saying that. Caleb Williams will do okay, but he's obviously still a bit of a diva. It's about him.
Yeah, I don't like his attitude and his ego. That's the problem with Caleb.
Is there a better quarterback in the NFC than Jaden Daniels? If you just look at the NFC teams, yeah.
Depends. It depends what you're looking at. The overall package.
Yeah.
Probably
would
not.
you say
if you're
he's
looking
better
at
than Hurts?
If you're looking at, yeah, I think he's better. I think he's better than Hurts. I've never rated Hurts. I think he's just a very strong quarterback, as in power, strength. The tush push is virtually unstoppable when he's doing it. But his passing is erratic at times, and that's not, for me as a quarterback. You should be able to pass the ball. It should be accurate, And I know he's good with his legs and all the rest of it, and he's all those type things. But for me, our guy's a better passer than Jalen Hurts, so I'm going to rate him above Jalen Hurts. Now, now looking at passes. Now here we go. So now we're looking at Goff and we're looking at Sam Darnold this year. Now
Love as well. He's got to be in
Love,
that conversation.
yeah. I mean, look, I like Love, but I still don't think he's as good as our guy. I don't. I think he's decent. Like, don't get me wrong, but and then you're looking at, I say, Goff. He can't run really. You know, so it depends. If you're looking for pure passer, then you probably would go with the Goff. Do you know what I mean? You probably would say he's the best in the NFC. You know, he puts up 45 nearly every week. You know what I mean? It's different level. So you probably say that, and then obviously with Darnold as well, he's been superb with his passing this year.
He's had a really good season.
But again, these guys are not natural gifted athlete runners like a Jaden Daniels is or Hurts is even. So if you're looking for the combined package, you know, Jaden's up there. Do you know what I mean? He really is. He's right up there with them. It's just a case of, do you look for a better passer or not? And there's not many better than him. Like I said, I'd say potentially Goff is probably a better passer. But besides that, Jaden's right up there with them, man.
I honestly think he's the best quarterback in the NFC. I really do. And even as a rookie. And what you've got to remember, I think you made an amazing point the other day on the bunker. And if you haven't seen the bunker, shout out to Burrows, Jesse, and Scouse. Obviously, you are co-host on that show. When you go and watch that, go and give it a watch. You made a really, really good point on there, and you said this is Jaden Daniels as a rookie. What's he going to be like?
At its worst.
That is worst, exactly.
Yeah.
What's he going to be like in 2 years?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly, man. Yeah.
It just unbelievable, isn't it, to think we've got this kid potentially even before a contract negotiation for another 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, 5 years, you're going to have to get his 50 option.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. So we've got 4 more. Yeah, 4 more
4 extra years
this season. Yeah,
man.
What is it going to be like, man?
Oh yeah, it's contract's going to be crazy when it comes up to it. But
70 mil. You know what I mean? No doubt about it. About it.
At least 70 mil.
Yeah, man.
But it'd be worth it though, because he elevates average players. No, you look at the guys like Zacchaeus. You look at the guys that like Noah Browns. These guys are just average receivers. Do you know what I mean? These guys have been fitting around all different teams, trying to find a home. The Chelsea that they're just average. You know what I mean? You should
be picking a receiver up in October and be able to be like putting him straight into your team.
And look at Crowder as well. Look at Crowder as well. He's been out injured all year, so he hasn't really had any chemistry with him, and yet he's still putting in. Last week he didn't score any touchdowns, but before he came up big time with 2 touchdowns for us against the Eagles. You know, and it just shows, man, that Jaden can elevate players who are average to above average. Not to a great, but to above average. And that sometimes can be enough.
Do you think we have to pump the brakes like Scott G's saying here? We've seen rookies crash come year 2 and beyond, so let's not pump the gold jacket just yet. The future looks bright. Yeah, I think we probably do. Second year slump is always there. You know what I mean? It is always there. But he's not Bryce Young. Do you know what I mean? He's not one of these where you can look and go, oh, okay, it didn't really work. I mean, the classic example of a quarterback that didn't really work in year 2, then carried on, and then was like, came back again, and then got binned off and came back, is either Darnold or Baker Mayfield. Both have made a really great career out of it in the end. But I get what you're saying, Scott G. Completely understand where you're coming from, mate.
And then you look at this season, you see CJ Stroud's here. I mean, he's not been playing well. He has had zero protection, though. That offensive line is absolute dog shit. We're not going to lie. Was I expected it to be that bad? No, I wasn't expected it to be that bad. But it's been really, really bad over there. And he's had zero time. He's had plenty of injuries to his receivers. Tank Dell, we've seen a horrible injury he had. And he's been shot. He got shot early in the season as well. Tank Dell.
You forgot about that, didn't you?
Yeah. How unlucky is he? And he's one of his main receivers. And Stephon
Diggs as well was injured, so
these things do take a toll on him, and as I say, defenses will have more film on him as well, and they'll know more about the tendencies. They'll look at tendencies more than actually how can he pass the ball or not. It's more about the tendencies, what he sees when he sees a blitz, when he does. All the little nuances. That's what they're looking at for the second season, and teams do dial in on that. So I could definitely see Jaden maybe not be as good as this year, but I still think he'd be good enough. You know what I mean? Like, because I will expect a little bit of a downturn the second season because teams will dial in, and then about halfway through, I reckon you'll start seeing it going back up again.
We're getting some serious shit here, and it's like Jesse and Scott G are both on the same page.
It's just Jesse and Scotty lick each other's ass. That's all it is, mate.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on here. He's saying, "Oh, he elevates Terry." He elevates
New Year, mate.
Maybe he elevates Terry. He elevates Terry, and then Scott G's bingo. Jesse, yeah, all right, guys, come on, stop the loving. You used to hate each other. Now hell's frozen over. We're in 2025, and you two seem to be best buds at the minute. What's going on? Maybe we need to cause some more controversy. I don't know.
Absolutely shocking.
So the playoffs, mate. We're in the playoffs, which is with an unbelievable record. The most wins I've ever seen in my fandom. This is ridiculous. Obviously, what did we get in last time in 2020? Was it? I can't even remember. Was it 9 wins? Was it?
I thought we got in 7 wins. I thought it was 7
and 9. It might be, or was it 9 and 7?
I don't lose a record because it was a horrible year for all our teams in the NFC East. So yeah, back to the playoffs. I mean, what are your thoughts going into the playoffs? I've got a few questions here. Scott G, it's nice, man. It's very
Scott
nice
G
to see.
put one in. He said, "What are your expectations for a potential run?" And then Jesse also put a question in. He said, "Who needs to step up for Washington to have a real chance at a playoff run?" We'll answer Scott G's one first. What's your expectations going into the playoffs?
I mean, what you got to think of it as? Do teams want to play us? And the question there at this moment is no. Philly fans talking flapping their gums and things. That's fine, but deep down, they're a team that want to play us. Why would they want to play us again? Well, because it's 1-1 in regular season. No, they want every team wants the easiest potential opponent. You don't want the best straight away. When people say they do, they're silly because you want to get through. I mean, who would you rather play in the Super Bowl? The Bills, the Chiefs, or the Texans? You're going to say the Texans, aren't you? Because you want the easiest potential team. So anyone says it differently. Is you got to beat them all. No, you don't. You got to beat the ones who are in front of you. It's as simple as that. So, and
I think the mindset and the mentality that we've got is one game at a time, not looking forward.
And no team wants to play a team who's hot at the end of the season. No one wants to play a team who's hot. No one.
We're on 4 unbeaten, potentially 5. Scott's just put the point in there. If we're 1 and done, are you upset or are you not upset about it? I'm not. Would he be pissed off? Yeah, initially. Yeah, of course I would be. I'd be disappointed.
Well, just like you would if you lost any game.
Of course you would. But you have to look and think to yourself, you know what? This is a great season and a great building block. And that's it, isn't it?
It's bonus football for us in the playoffs. We're not used to being there. So let's face it. It's nice to just to be there and be talked about, as in could these be a dark horse? Could these do something? Could these actually upset some of these bigger teams? And we could, because we've got JD. JD makes us believe, and he makes the players believe as well, and that elevates everyone.
Yeah, and as you're saying about elevation, Jesse said that if JD elevates OZ, why wouldn't he do the same thing for 17? I think he has.
Of course he has.
God,
I mean, look at the touchdowns.
He's got a Pro Bowl.
Yeah, look at the touchdowns. He's got an actual real quarterback who can throw the goddamn ball properly. And what's he getting?
Thanks for being here,
a hell of a lot more touchdowns than he's ever had before in any one season. Yeah. The yardage is higher.
The yardage isn't the final fucking play of the regular season.
Yeah, exactly. To get him 1,000
yards.
Yeah, exactly. He's already passed that. He's in 1,100 or something like that now, I think. So and he's still got a game left. So this the difference. He's going to raise everyone's game. But the thing is, though, to say that your best player is not a top player it's just poor show from the fan. Poor show from fans, man.
So you're still saying he's elite, Terry?
Terry's 100% elite.
I'm not, mate. I don't think he's elite. I think he's elite on this team.
You change your mind like the fucking...
No, I don't. I've never said he was... I've never said... Get the receipts. Get the receipts, Scott G.
I'll get the receipts.
I think he's elite for this team. He's not elite in the whole of the NFL yet.
Have you seen all the stats he's up against?
Yes.
He's beating everybody.
I know. He's the second highest touchdowns second highest touchdowns outside of Jamar Chase this year. But he needs to show body of work over a couple of seasons.
A body of work. Hey, if Terry was 24 again and he had Jaden Daniels starting with him,
yeah.
What's the difference? Well, he's got a proper quarterback who can play in 4 or 5 years. He'd be smashing all sorts of records. Oh, he's had fucking people like Heineke playing. Fucking, what's his name? Gilbert or something like that. Fucking Gilbert Green.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
The fucking these guys. He's had his quarterback. These guys are like not even bums off the street. He's the worst than that. And yet he's still getting 1,000-yard seasons.
Gilbert,
I even think JJ would struggle. I even think JJ would struggle to do the quarterbacks that we've had over that kind of like 5 years that you've had Terry. I'll tell you that now.
Okay. So who needs to step up?
Giving him a leap before pro. The eye test, you don't beat the eye test, bro. And I bet you this season you'll get it.
Probably will. Who needs to step up for Washington then to have a real chance in a playoff run?
The run game, man. The run game. Yeah. It's been absolutely horrible. B-Rob's been shocking. The O-line's been poor. You know, if it wasn't for Jaden's legs, you know, we would be screwed. We really would have been screwed. Forget about he's protecting him and not. No, because Jaden's doing the right things at the right times. He's moving when he should. He's running when he should. He's sliding when he should, which tells so he doesn't take unnecessary hits. Now there was a couple there. I was a bit like shit, man. He was going for the end zone. He got absolutely laced, shoulder in the back, and he got winded from it, but he was fine. And his leg got snapped back, and I shit myself with that. I'm not going to lie about that.
I did too. I did too.
To the end again, you know, or PTSD, Alex Smith type style.
I think the outpouring of breath at that point, the intake was, and then it was the release of at the end of that. When there was no air left. Mate, there was the CO2 emissions outside that stadium put up another load of greenhouse gases, mate. That's for sure. But no, in all seriousness. To your point, though, Scouts, going back to the run game, Deluxe put a question into us. He said, what is the biggest cause for the decline in the run game? Is it the defenses that we faced? Is it O-line injuries? Is it the actual running back room? What percentage would you attribute to each of them?
I mean, it all starts up front, doesn't it? At the end of the day. I mean, look at Saquon at the Giants, for example. You know, the guy's an unbelievable talent, but the O-line was shit. You know what I mean? And yes, he will do okay, but he's not doing the stuff he's doing now with the real offensive line. You know, so for me, it's all about the offensive line. You've got to create gaps. You've got to create running lanes, man. And so I'm saying 50% on the line, being honest, and then for me, probably 25% back, and then 25% that Eckler's not been playing, because I think Eckler makes a big difference, and it'd be great to see him back in the playoffs, because I think he'll be ready for the playoffs. I know he's been practicing full recently this last week, but I don't think they'll play him against Dallas. I do think he'll be back there for the first game of the playoffs. But we need him. We need him, man.
We do. Scott G's put a point in here. He said to the eye test, then he's definitely not. He said, "What's the bet? If you think he'll be one of 3 All-Pro guys, he's going to go Chase, Jefferson, and St. Brown. Who are you removing?" Very good point. Very good point. I mean,
do you know what? I'm actually going to drop Chase, and do you want to know why?
What?
Because he let me down on my bet last week.
Okay, I was on Jamar Chase.
He dropped that fucking ball right through his hands. That was in the for a touchdown. He dropped it. Speaking of drops, though, man, you know these guys have had some drops. You know, I know you can know that. Jesse always throws at us, Terry dropped this one, that one. All receivers have drops, man. Even the so-called elite that you're talking about, the Chasers, Jeffersons, whatever. All right, so don't be all that.
So who needs to step up then for a run for the run game? Is that what you're saying?
The whole run game. Yeah, Kingsbury's got to call it better. We've got to get the actual offensive line actually producing at least some sort of gaps. And then say we need a running back to actually see the hole and hit it hard. You've got to be able to run the ball in the playoffs, man. You can't just rely on Jaden all the time. You know, because teams will dial in on them. They'll know if we've got no run game and all we've got is Jaden to run the ball. They're going to find a way. They'll find a way of stopping him. But teams have done it before this season alone. Like I think the Steelers did it quite well.
Yeah.
They'll put Queen as a spy on him, and he just went. Yeah, game over. You know what I mean? So it was. So we need to. You've got to be able to run the ball. End the story in the playoffs. If you can't, you're not going to last.
True, very true. You've got to run the ball in the playoffs. Absolutely agree with you. I think the O-line needs to step up as well, trying to get a bit healthier. We're struggling. We're down to Trent Scott again and Chris Paul playing on, the last few snaps against the Falcons. This is going to be a struggle, man. And everybody's beat up. I get that. Absolutely everybody's beat up. And you're not going to have the same team that you had on week one where everybody's fit. We are seemingly getting a bit healthier going into this, which is a good sign. But we have to have the O-line step up again. We need Biadish in the middle. D-Tip just doesn't work with, unfortunately.
And he's struggling. I mean, Biadish is struggling with injuries.
He had a better game, though, against the Falcons. He had a better game against the Falcons.
Until he went out. Oh, yeah, DT, DT, he didn't even play, did he, Biadish?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is with DT as well is that I think he struggles actually with the play calling, the protections and all that, which obviously Biadish normally does. So I think Allegretti did it last week, and he did okay, but he's still not great, you know what I mean? Like, that's not great,
It's going to be difficult. Jesse
we've
also made
got
a point.
We've got some bad players, man. We've got some bad players on the O-line. We really do, man. Even Wiley.
It's depth. That's the problem, as you've said many a time.
I mean, what do you do in this game being deep down? Because all our O-line's banged up, really. I mean, Dieter's not because he doesn't play that often. But besides that, Cosme's playing with, minor injuries. Coleman's playing with that finger that snapped all the time. What do you do? It's kind of like, well, do you just go, you know what? Just completely rest the whole O-line and play bums. Play like the other guys, like the Trent Scotts and maybe the guys on practice squad. But then obviously you want to protect Jaden as well. So then you go, well, you don't play Jaden, you play Mariota. Do you see what I mean? So there's different options there that you could do if you really want to try and save your guys who are your first teamers who do need an element of rest because they are banged up, even though they could play. Coleman can play, Allegretti can play. You know what I mean? But it's kind of, what do you do with that?
I'll get into this. That was one of my points, which I'll get into a little bit.
Oh, is it?
On.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we'll get into the playoff. We'll still stick with the playoff talk for now. I know we're jumping ahead of the Cowboys, and we'll get into the Cowboys in a minute because obviously it's kind of usurped this Cowboys week, which is very odd to think that normally you're going, it's Dallas week, fucking yeah, let's get into them. But everyone's just talking about playoffs, which I get it. You know what I mean? I completely get it. Looking at the playoff picture, then. We're obviously currently 6th seed. From looking at Dan Quinn's interviews, he's saying he wants to keep the 6th seed, and I completely understand why. Then you've got the Rams in 3rd at the moment. But Jesse made a really good point and a little bit earlier that they're resting starters. So they're resting Puka Nacua, they're resting Cooper Kupp, resting a few others this week as well, which may mean that they may lose to the Seahawks, which would drop them down from the 3rd seed to the 4th seed, and they will probably play either the Vikings or the Lions, whoever is going to shoot out for that number 1 seed. Do you think that they're running scared because they don't want to play us? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, it must be. It must be. Why else would you rest your starters? To keep them healthy for the playoffs. Yeah, okay. We could say the same argument. I just tried to make it before with the O-line things, but it's kind of like if you're resting your main stars and week before, they're just not playing. It's kind of like, well, who would you rather have? And I think with them, it's kind of like, well, if we lose, I say, do they fancy going? Because they would have to travel, I think, wouldn't they? Because of the records. Is it the records that would go off?
No.
So they'll still be a home team?
If you win your division, then you are a home team.
Okay, so then what they'll say
Hence why the Taylor Heineke pylon against the Bucks.
So if you're Rams, so you're obviously going to be at home. You're going to play potentially us, Minnesota, or Detroit. Now, normally I'd say you want to play us. That's what out of those 3 teams, you probably want to play us. However, I think Minnesota are going to beat Detroit this week, and I think Minnesota are going to be number 1 seed, and the Lions are going to drop. Now, the Rams might go, well, actually, that works well for us. Why? Because we've rested all our main starters on offense, and they've got no defense, because the Lions don't have any defense. They're all injured. So It's kind of like, maybe that'd be the matchup. Maybe that's what they're trying to play. Maybe that's what they're trying to play for. Trying to play it smart.
That's a lot to go out with.
But it's though you've got Minnesota, you've got Lions. You know they're going to obviously it's an in-division game. Anything could happen. They're both indoor teams, so that doesn't really matter anything as well about the stadium or anything. And then who's the best team? And I think overall the best team is Minnesota. Why? Because they've got better defense. They've got much better defense than the Lions, and nearly as potent offense. It's not as potent, but it's nearly. And see what I mean? So, I'm thinking at this moment, I'm thinking Minnesota the best team in the NFC. I think they're better than the Eagles as well.
See, I think Detroit's got a better offense than Minnesota.
Yeah, but I think
defense.
I think it's not. Yeah, they've got a better offense, but not by massive amounts. In my book, I think Addison's been superb this year. I mean, I didn't rate Addison, and he's been superb. I mean, I was like, wow, got slapped around for that one. But you got Jefferson, you got him. Darnold's playing absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, okay. The Lions do have a great receiver core. You know what I mean? They have St. Brown, they have Williams, Laporta.
Laporta's class.
Yeah,
two amazing running backs in Gibbs and Montgomery, but Montgomery's.
I think Monty's out, so it's only Gibbs now.
Yeah, he's on IR, yeah.
But again, the Minnesota defense is a lot better.
It is.
Than the Lions defense because of injuries. Okay, so it's a lot better. So I can't wait to watch that game. It's going to be a great game.
It is going to be an unbelievable game.
But if I'm the Rams,
is that the Sunday night? Is that the Sunday night football?
It probably will be. I don't know for sure, but it should be if it's the main game, innit? So it's going to be a fucking nightmare for us. So for me, it's kind of like if you're, if you're the Rams, you've got nothing else to gain by playing the first team. They've already locked up first in their division. They've already guaranteed a home game. Yeah. So it's like, well, why can't they just... Do you know what I mean? Well, why not rest your players and see who they get? Knowing deep down that, if they do lose, they wouldn't play us.
So who do you want to play? Who do you want to play, and who do you least want to play? Or is there anyone that you're not really fussed either way? Because if we drop to the 7th seed for some bizarre reason...
Well, then we've got the Eagles, haven't we?
Then we've got the Eagles.
Yeah, so if we lose against Dallas, so if we rested our players, or even if we didn't and we just lost... We're going to be 7th, right? So
yeah, and we're going to
we're going to the link in the story, right? So that's what it's going to be for us. We win, we get and then I say the Rams lose, we'll get the Bucks more than likely.
Yeah,
or Atlanta, depending on what happens in their last games. But so I said it on the bunker. I want the Rams. I still want the Rams. I still think we can do them. I think their offense is up and down. I know they've got great players. But I just hope that we get them on a down game, and we can take advantage of that and win it. But I understand the argument for the Bucks. I understand that we played those first game of the season. We weren't even gelled yet. We're a different team now compared to then. Get some revenge. I get that argument as well, and I also get the argument for Philly. Beat them just 2 weeks ago. Let's go and beat them again. Let's fuck him up. But and exactly, yeah, and say there exactly what Jesse says there. The Rams don't want to play us. They don't want to play us.
It's weird.
It's but because we've got a quarterback who's him. That's what it is. He's him. Mm-hmm. Simple as that. We're the team on the roll. We're the team going up. We're putting 30 plus against the top teams. We put 30 plus against Philly. That's what we do. So, and we have got a glaring weakness at cornerback, and everyone will take advantage of that if Lattimore is out. And that's where the biggest mistakes will be from us. Will be around that area.
Mm.
But
yeah,
I personally,
get into it then.
What would you want? What would you want to do?
I want the Rams.
You want the Rams?
I mean that's where I was going to go with. I want the Rams because, as you said and you pointed out as well, they're so up and down. 1 minute they can score 10, then the next game they're putting 44 points up against Buffalo. And it's like, what the hell? What is actually going on? Which offense is going to actually turn up? and play. And you don't know. They're very 50-50 in that respect. They can have a stinker, but they can have an absolute worldie. And if you're going to have a worldie game and you're one and done, and Puka Nacua takes 2 touchdowns, and you've got Kyron Williams running for 150 yards, then yeah, you're screwed either way. I think either way, when you look at these running backs, we've got running backs we're going up against 3 potentially. We've got Barkley, Irving, and Kyron Williams. Either of them we're going to struggle against. They're going to get there. We're taking on
top running backs. Each 3 teams have got really good running backs. And most of them got really good receivers as well. Let's face it, we're probably the worst team with the receiver core. Out of those 4 teams, the 3 teams that we could play, and us. So these things. I mean, it's interesting, man. I love it, I love that we're being talked in this breadth of these other teams who've got top players, and we're like, we could actually have a chance against these fuckers. You know what I mean?
That's what I was saying to you. My fandom, I've never seen this many wins. It's fucking crazy, isn't it? But shout out to Rexican. Yes, we are here, mate. We've got loads and loads of Redskins fans, Commanders fans, Washington football team fans this side of the pond, mate. There is tons of us over here. Man. And if you're at a game, we'll be at the home opener again next year. So we'll pop over and see us Red Zone lot. We're always there. And come back and give us a listen, tell it and interact in the chat, mate. More than happy for you being here.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah. So we'll preview the Week 18 matchup with the Cowboys then. It's Dallas week. As I said, it's overshadowed by the playoff berth, which is awesome. But fuck the Cowboys. You know what I mean? No one likes the Cowboys. Who cares, man? The 7-9 Cowboys. We look at their stat leaders at the moment. It's still Dak Prescott at quarterback there, 1,978 yards. Although, Cooper Rush isn't far behind. He's got 1,844 yards. If we just go off Cooper's Rush's stats, he's done 12 games and he's got 12 TDs and 5 interceptions. Their Their rushing receptions leader is Rico Dowdle with 1,007 yards, but he only has 1 TD and 3 fumbles. Wow. Eric Kendricks is their top tackler with 133. And Eric Kendricks is also their top interception person with 3. So, yeah, man, what are your thoughts on the Cowboys? Obviously, they got absolutely duped and done over by the Eagles' third stringer at the weekend. Jerry got some shit in the stands, which was awesome to see. Even though it was from Eagles fans, not awesome to see. They can go and kick rocks too. But, yeah, what are your thoughts on this game, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of these games, man. Like, you could definitely take your eye off the ball here. You really could.
We laid an egg last time, Scouts, didn't we?
And that's the only game where we thought we should definitely win this game going into it, and we actually played like shit and got battered, right? All the other games have been tight. It's been close games, even against teams who have got better man for man, or talent-wise, they're better. And we came that close a lot of times to beating them. The only team we didn't do was Dallas. They had us off, and we didn't show up. It was piss poor performance, to be honest. Now, obviously, as a fan, I want revenge. I want to go in there and give them an absolute hiding. That's what I want to see. Yeah. But I also understand it from the point of view of, I say, if guys really are banged up, you shouldn't play them. You shouldn't play them. I mean, yes, of course. Would I want to stay sixth? Yeah, hell yeah, I would. But it's kind of one of them. Maybe you go, first off, go all out, really try and put the points up.
That's where I was going to go with it.
Put the points up early, go get 2-3 scores up, and then just rest the whole team. Second half and just try and hold on, and see what the backups really can do in a whole half of a game. I'd probably go down that route, but it's hard, man. Like it's gonna be. It's going to be hard. Like, if we play our first team the whole game, we should win this game, and we should win it quite easily. But there are circumstances to it all. So
Parsons is auditioning for us next year. I'd love to think that, Ian. I really would.
You never know.
You never know, man. We'll see.
He loves DQ. He loves DQ.
He does. The injury report. Let's go through the injury report. So Jonathan Allen was on the injury report this year. Yesterday. This year.
Well, he wasn't the whole year.
About. Yeah. He didn't practice. He was on rest. Tyler Biadasz with the ankle did not practice. De'Ami Brown hamstring did not practice. Jameson Crowder was on a rest, not injury related. Zach Ertz, rest, not injury related. Clean and Farrell, rest. Fowler, rest. Marshawn Lattimore, hamstring, did not practice. Cornelius Lucas, groin, did not practice. Terry McLaurin, rest. Tyler Owens, ankle, didn't practice. Andrew Wiley, groin, didn't practice. Jordan McGee was limited with a hamstring. And Austin Eckler was full participant after the concussion. I agree with you, mate. I think we need to probably get ahead, try and build a lead up, build a score up, and then look and see what have we got that we can push in. What can we do? Yeah, you're right, though, Jan. We're never lucky enough to rest players after the first half, though. You know what? The only game that we've got close to doing that was it the Panthers at home, and then Mariota came in, and it was
like 24-0 up, something like that at one point, something like that. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing we need to be doing against Dallas. Really put, in the first half, just hit the ground running. No fucking around. You know what I mean? Just go in there, just give them an absolute pasting, and then their heads will drop, and we can rest all our guys. That's the ideal scenario.
Speaking of Yam, he put a question into us, and he said the same question I asked the Bonga. How do we get 12-5 and keep momentum going?
I think we've kind of touched on it a little bit. I mean, we've got it in this game. Out of anything, if we can get something working, have to be the run game. Yeah. If we can get the run game going, because you can't try and figure it out in the playoffs. You know what I mean? You've got to figure out before that. So we need to get a solid performance from our running backs, man, whoever's playing. If it is B-Rob and C-Rod or if Eckler does play or whatever they're going to do. But either way, these guys have got to have a solid performance. Otherwise, I'll be worried going into the playoffs going, we still can't run the ball. You know what I mean? So... yeah, that's for me. That's the biggest thing for me. You've got to be able to run the ball.
Yep, completely agree. That's exactly what I wrote down. Run the ball, because it's as simple as that. B-Rob's had some very poor games over probably the last 3 or 4 games, putting the ball on the floor twice, putting the ball on the floor twice against the Eagles, and then last week we just relied on Jaden's legs, which you can't do game in, game out every single time. It's impossible. Even though he does look great when he's doing it, he's just gliding around. You're like, wow, this kid's incredible. I want to see more of C-Rod. He's looked good the last few weeks. And when he's handling the ball, he's looked good going forward. He's almost like that change of pace back. And then you've got McNichol, who's doing a job there as well. I don't know, mate. It is tough, but we've got to run the ball. That is the key to victory for me, is running the ball. And then getting up early and catching and hit deep shots. This is a terrible team that you should be beating. This is a terrible Dallas side that we should be beating, hands down.
But these guys these guys are going to play party pooper. Do you know what I mean? Like, Dallas going to love that.
That's what they're trying to do.
They would love to put us in a situation where we've got to play the Eagles. They would love that.
No doubt.
They would love that. They go, we can't get in. One of you is going to go out first round because you're going to play each other. So, it's that's exactly what their motivation is going to be. So it's and plus it's always the rivalry. So, I mean, I'd say it's a hard one because obviously we don't want to lose 6th seed.
I don't want to lose the 6th seed.
But again,
yeah.
But am I scared of Philly? No, I'm not scared of them. So even if the worst happened and we lost and we played Philly, we still got a chance. But at their ground, you've got to be able to run the ball, and we haven't been able to do it yet. So as we just mentioned that, so we have to be able to run the ball. So we got to somehow fix it for this game this week to feel confident going into the playoffs.
Agreed. Well, we'll get into our fan questions then, mate. So the first, we've got 3 actually here from Tim Towner. So we'll get into his first one. He said, in the first 2 days of the 2025 draft, clearly he's looking ahead. He said, we have three picks, and I see we have 4 major needs, namely OT, wide receiver, DE or edge, and cornerback. As we saw in 2024, we'll not be able to fix all our issues at once. If you're the GM and these 4 positions still need to be addressed by the draft, which one is getting shortchanged?
I think the one that you could be a bit more shortchanged on is, it all depends who we re-sign, by the way.
Yeah.
But this is the problem with this one. Who do we re-sign? Now,
Fowler Jr. stepped up 10.5 sacks.
Well, that's what I mean. So if you hired him again, rehired him, then yeah, could we use a better edge? Sure, as on the other side, because I think Armstrong's only average, being honest. But you could technically get away with it because Louvu is a good pass rusher, so you use him a lot more like we have been, and he's getting his sacks. So we could kind of get away with it, maybe, but we could also get away with it at tackle as well because Jaden's legs. But
Yeah,
I'd rather protect the merchandise. Do you know what I mean? He's the hot property. You don't want him getting fucked around. So
I can see exactly where you're coming from, but to Tim's question, I think all of these are going to be sorted before we even get to draft. And then we're looking at the draft. Yeah, I do. I think
you get free agencies for all of it.
Absolutely, all four. They might not be amazing. I think we'll get a very good cornerback. I think DJ Reed would be one I'd be definitely targeting. Offensive tackle might be a struggle in free agency. That's the only one potentially, but you might get a solid depth piece. The same can probably be said for edge, wide receiver. Do you trade for someone like Garrett Wilson?
Get me T. Higgins, man.
T. Higgins or what's his name? Not Wilson. Who's the?
Yeah, Garrett Wilson from Jets.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson. Yeah, from the Jets. He wants out. So
he's
there's players out there, man. I know he
round.
is. I know. There's players out. There's players out there who we could potentially either trade for or sign. With the money that we've got, we're probably going to have about 120 mil.
If you had to leave one alone though, like he's saying, you have to.
I'd say edge.
I'd probably go edge. Yeah, I'd probably just do with edge. Get yourself a solid right tackle in the draft.
I think the corner is the one that you need desperately.
Yeah,
wide receiver could be sorted at the draft. I think there's lots of wide receivers out there in the draft who are pretty good. There's some very good corners, but are you going to be that high up in the draft to get a corner that's decent?
Yeah,
probably not.
Yeah, exactly. The top corner. You're looking at a top corner. I mean, the top corners go in the top 10. They always do.
Travis Hunter might even go number 1 overall. So
I mean, yeah, and that's if you think he's going to play corner. And also a little bit receiver. I mean, you just don't know what he's going to do, or even play both, which might be insane for NFL guys. But it's but I wouldn't be looking at Travis Hunter anyway. He's way too far from us. We're going to be in the 25 onwards.
Yeah.
25 onwards, and hopefully we'll be 32. So
you'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so then
I tell you what, though. So for Wilson, if Wilson wants to trade, would you give up 32?
Then I'll definitely look into that. Yeah, for sure.
If
there's a tackle there for me. If not, then
if it's T Higgins and there's a tag and trade scenario, would you give up 32? It's a second round pick, basically. When you think about,
I don't like the idea of tag and trade, though. You know what I mean? Like, as in, like getting, even though that's
kind of what they're going to do. So, if you look at the wide receivers that have been done, like the back end of the draft, like Ricky Pearsall's. I mean, what are you getting out there? You're not going to get a Buka at there. You're not going to get.
That would be nice. So I saw him yesterday. He
was good. He looked very good. Yeah,
it'd be nice to get someone like that.
But I think edge probably. Tim, to answer your question,
we need a guy who can actually take the top off the defense. A genuine speedster, but who's actually can play. Who's got the whole route tree. The whole route tree. That's what we need. We need a guy who's lightning, but who's got it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what we've not got. But obviously those guys don't grow on trees. But sometimes you can find a Nakua. Like they found him in the 4th round, something like that.
Lad McConkey's had a great season.
He was a first rounder, but again, wasn't he?
Was he? No, I think he was in the second.
Second round.
Even so, it's one of them.
But yeah, I'll see it. Anything like that, I'd be happy with. You know what I mean? But see,
it's all right, mate. We've got another one from Cam McDonald there. He says, what are the chances of a first game next season being Thursday night against Detroit? The two most positive teams in the NFL over the last few years. UK fans hit Washington for a Thursday game. Oof. I mean, I think it was Friday was this year. They did a Friday night game. I think it was the Ravens week 1 against the Chiefs. Normally it's like the Super Bowl winning team, so maybe he's thinking Detroit are going to the Super Bowl. I don't know about that. Or us, maybe. Yeah, Thursday night game. I don't like Thursday night games, I'll be honest with you. Can't stand them. Thursdays and Mondays. But we've got to look forward to this, man. We've got to look forward to to more late night games, unfortunately, which is bad from our perspective because it's very late. But yeah, next season's going to be very interesting.
Scott mentions here we don't go to Detroit, so it won't happen. But I thought Detroit play. I thought don't we play Detroit at home? No.
Yeah, I think we do play Detroit.
Do we play Detroit? I thought we did.
I will have a look because the schedule did come out, didn't it, as well as to who we play. So yeah, who's our opponents in 2025? I did look at this, but I can't even remember who it is. So we've obviously got Cowboys home and away. We are at Green Bay. We are at Kansas City. No,
so the way Scott is saying here, we've got Detroit at home, but so does that mean the Super Bowl champs always open up a home game on the Thursday? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. Normally it's the Thursday or Friday night football, isn't it?
So Scott. So unless he thinks we're winning it all, so yeah. So if we won it all, then we'd have obviously the Super Bowl champs get the first game of the season's at home on Thursday night. So that's why we couldn't get Detroit unless we win it.
So our away games are Dallas, obviously New York and Philly, standard. We're away at Lambeau, Green Bay. We're away at Kansas City. We're away at the Chargers, and we're also away at the Vikings.
Mate, this is going to be grim. I mean, if these teams are anything like they are this year, that's going to be painful.
At home, obviously, we've got the 3 division rivals. Then we've got Chicago, Detroit, Denver, Vegas, an NFC West team, an NFC South team, and an AFC East team. So yeah, that's. We'll have to when it all gets locked in. We'll go.
But yeah, I mean, this is the thing though. We talk about this in the off season. It's like, oh mate, these teams are going to be great, and then all of a sudden they're absolute donkey dong. You know what I mean? So it's
Jets keep jetting. You know. What I mean?
Yeah. The Jets. Oh, they're going to be amazing. No, they're dog shit. You know, it happens a lot. You know, the guys who are the top quarterbacks, of course, they're probably still going to be solid. You know, you mentioned we've got Detroit. You mentioned we've got Minnesota. You mentioned you've got Kansas City. You know, those are the top quarterbacks. Yeah, okay, they're still going to be a solid team and a hard team to beat. But everybody else is all kind of up and down. You know, you mentioned about Jaden's second year slump or potential. Bo Nix is one for Denver, so we got them.
Yeah,
you know, so these things can work out as well. So don't be.
Yeah, we'll get into that when we get there.
It's an easy schedule, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One more question. Well, we've got 2 more questions actually from Tim. But Tim's second question, he said, after recent QB classes in 2021, 22 and 23 sucked, I thought teams would stop reaching for quarterbacks in the first round. Has Jaden broken that mold by showing what a first round quarterback who is ready to start really looks like? And do you think any of the projected first round quarterbacks will measure up to him this year, i.e. Sanders, Ward, Milroe, Beck, Ewers, Dart and Gabriel? Going quite in depth there into draft.
I mean, the thing is with quarterbacks that you've got it. Unfortunately, yeah, teams are always going to reach for a quarterback. If they haven't got a quarterback, they're obviously looking for a quarterback, which means that they're going to reach for a quarterback. It's just unfortunate, you know, because you do panic. Like if you're, you know, if you say everyone knows that if you've got no quarterback, you can't win shit. Look at us for the last 20 odd years, 30 years.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
We haven't had a good quarterback. We haven't done shit. So teams are always going to keep doing that, and they will waste first rounders on quarterbacks, hoping to God that they're the real deal. Now, yes, I think going forward, maybe not this upcoming class, but next couple of years, a lot of these quarterbacks are not going to come out early. They're going to stay the whole way through college, 4 to 5 years. Why? Because of NIL deals. Okay, yeah. So they don't need to come out before. They always rush to come to the NFL. Why? To get paid. It's as simple as that. No, they've got to look after the families, everything else that goes along with it. So they come out there normally when their stock is highest, whatever year that is of their college year, right? Now they won't have to do that. Now they can actually get the real experience of playing 40, 50 games. Jaden Daniels, prime example. Yeah, 50 years. Well, 50 years. 50 games, sorry. 50 games in. Yeah. Feels like 50 years in college, but now, so 50 games, that sets you up well. That's going to set these other guys coming up well. especially first-round quarterbacks, are always going to be starters at their college teams as well. So it's not like, they're going to be sitting on the bench for 4 years. No, it's not going to be like that because the portal changes things all the time now. Guys are moving left, right, and center. So
all the time.
There's no
it's crazy.
Yeah, but the money's people are getting offered shitloads of sponsorships just to move to a different team.
$6 million, I saw one.
I think that's Archie Manning, isn't it? Is that Archie Manning?
Yeah, I think it's Archie Manning.
And he's on the bench.
Million.
He's on the bench because Hughes was the starter there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
So do you see anyone out of this class? Do you see anyone out of this class coming through and having a
Jaden-like season?
I honestly don't. I think this is a poor.
I mean, I think Millwall's horrible. I think he shouldn't even be in the first round at all.
Cam Ward's probably the only one.
I think Cam Ward's probably the best quarterback out of them.
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't say these guys might go number 1, number 3, number 4. You know what I mean? Like, because Raiders are desperate for a quarterback.
Tennessee are going to want to do something.
Tennessee are going to want one.
Giants
definitely need one. And the Pats they're at 1 at the moment, aren't they? The Pats.
Yeah.
Currently, because the Giants won last week, which is fucking stupid, by the way.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Can't even lose properly.
Absolutely stupid. But so the Pats would definitely. I think they would trade down. I think they could get something for a Cam Ward or a Sanders at one.
So at the moment it's New England, Tennessee, Cleveland, Giants, Jags, Carolina is the top 6.
Now again, 3 of them teams need a quarterback.
And even if you're going back, there's to 9. If you go back to 9th, which is Chicago, they're on 4 and 12, and New England are on 3 and 13.
Wow. Big difference, isn't it? Only 1 game difference. Yeah.
1 game difference, yeah.
But
Chicago have lost the last 10 in a row, which is just crazy. So you're looking at that, you're saying that on a win streak, on a losing streak, Jags won, Giants won, Carolina are off 1 loss, Cleveland lost 5, Tennessee lost 5, New England lost 6. So I think that it could probably end up being that the Patriots will have the number 1 overall pick. Looking at that list, I mean, Tennessee need a QB, Cleveland need a QB, Carolina probably need a QB. Not sure if they'll go with Bryce.
I think you've seen enough in Young more recently, the last kind of, say, month or so, 2 months. He's getting better. He's getting better. Do you know what I mean?
If you're my wife, she doesn't want to stick with the long-haired genius that is,
Just spend $50 million a year on me. You got no chance of getting rid of him.
So. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
So he's definitely staying there for a long time. And then you've
got to think there's also a lot of
Pats have got
a lot of old veteran quarterbacks who are on the block as well. Like, is Sam Darnold going to stay at the Vikings? Is it genuinely going to be JJ's team, or is it going to? You know what I mean? What do you do there? Because he's had an unbelievable season.
I mean, from the season, you got to at least offer him a contract. I think the fans would go mental if he didn't.
Do you get Cousins? Do you get Cousins on pennies on the dime? You know what I mean? Like if you're the Raiders or the Giants.
I think more the Giants. You know, I don't know why. I just have a feeling that the Giants might go from
the Jets need a QB.
Well, yeah, because I think Rodgers is going to be gone, isn't he? So
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
he is. If you want to actually get a player to destroy a culture, a team, hire Aaron Rodgers. He is horrible, man. He just caused murder from day 1. He was there. No, he got Salah sacked, and they were on the up when they got him. They traded for him, didn't they? I think they traded for him.
So Scott G saying here, many people locally are speculating that Sam will sign and they'll listen to offers for JJ.
Wow,
that's just crazy, isn't it?
I think JJ would really be useful to have a season behind Sam. On the bench,
well, that's exactly what Yams just said there.
Oh, was he?
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. He said, "Why not keep Darnold and JJ in Minnesota on a rookie deal? Let him learn. Yeah, go down the Patrick Mahomes route. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you do that? Or the Jordan Love route? You know what I mean? And they've done that. They've sat behind.
Yeah, I think that's very rare though. A quarterback nowadays to stay 4 years on the bench who was a first rounder like Love. That's very rare.
Absolutely,
I don't think you'll see that again. I don't think you'll ever see that again.
I don't think you will either.
Quarterbacks nowadays have got to be ready near enough. as soon as they come out now. If you're first rounder, that is, they expect you to be able to hit the ground running. You know, it's unfair sometimes on these quarterbacks, but you know, is what it is.
So our final question, mate, is also from Tim. In fact, hang on, I'm just going to check to make sure I haven't missed anyone's questions off. But no, we answered Deluxe's question. So yeah, it looks like it's. Did we answer Scott G's question? We did. I don't want to miss anyone out of here, so apologies if I have. Final question then from Tim Towner. He said, last week of the year, and then it's Black Monday. Do you dare project which coaches will be fired? And do you think Cliff Kingsbury will get a new gig? If he leaves, where could he go?
Well, I mean,
firstly, let's do the Cliff Kingsbury bit. I watched his press conference earlier, and they asked the straight up, as Sam Fortier straight up asked the question. He said, "Do you want to be a head coach in the league again?" He smirked and said, "Yeah. But right now, no." And then obviously he said he's enjoyed his time in Washington, which is great to hear. And then they asked him, will you take interviews over the summer? And he said, I'm not going to comment on that.
But that to me tells me yes. That tells me
of course. I think he's going to take looks and take interviews. But the situation has got to be big. Because obviously he's still getting paid up until 2027 off the Cardinals, which is crazy.
But would he lose that, wouldn't he, if he goes to the head coach?
He would do.
Job?
If he goes to a head, yes, he would. He would stop getting paid, yeah. So now, he's probably on head coaching money. He's probably getting head coaching money plus offensive coordinator money right now. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, what do you do? I don't think Cliff is going anywhere, at least this season. If he has a season like he's had this year, next season, yeah. But what's a better situation? What's a better situation for him to go into?
And that's the thing with Cliff. It's like he doesn't have to rush it. Before he was coming out of college, and it was like, oh, Arizona throwing shitloads of money at me on a huge deal, like a long-term deal, 5-year deal, whatever it was. Oh yeah, well, I want to go to the NFL. I want to test myself there. So he went. Now this is different now. This is different now because now he's an offensive coordinator. He has less stress. He can actually just deal with the offense, rather than the whole team, which he mentioned last time was you found it quite hard to deal with everybody. Now he said, would he have done things differently from his time in Arizona? Now being with DQ and learning about how he does it.
Yeah, I did.
He said
he
would change it. He said he would change it.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle, I think was his actual word. Yeah. And giving too much player leeway. And that was the whole Kyler Murray thing with the contract and the gaming. It was a fucking disaster. Yeah. From start to finish.
Yeah. He'd have things start trying to be one of the friends when he can't be, you know. You can to a certain extent, but then they've got to know where the line is, you know what I mean? If they go past it, they're gonna get punished for it, and I think DQ does that a lot better than most coaches. So, does he have to leave? No, he's got plenty of time. He had a 3-year deal he signed with us, so technically he's still here, for 2 more seasons if he wanted to. At the very minimum, that's without us actually trying to offer him a new deal. I'm sure he's well paid here as well, on top of Arizona's wages. So he's definitely getting paid like a head coach without being a head coach. And he mentioned that he is having a lot of fun here and he's enjoyed being here. So as you said, it has to be something that's really like blow his mind project wise, and that he gets total control or 100% control, or him and the new GM or something like what's here. If it's something that if it's not like it is here, but he's allowed to change everything about it.
Yeah, you're not going to go into a situation where you might go. You're not going to go into a situation where you force the quarterback. You forced the GM that's already there. Yeah, you haven't got total control. All that to be greedy and for a bit of money and potentially how long
he doesn't need the money. He's getting paid shitloads already. He doesn't need the money.
Exactly.
It's got to be the right project, and that's the thing. It's got to be the right project. And I don't think the Bears is the right one. I don't think the Bears.
I was going to say, could he go to the Bears with a Caleb Williams again? Meet him.
Everyone goes on about that. I mean, to be fair, I think Williams is going to kill a lot of head coaches.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think he's a bust then? Do you?
I don't think he's going to be an absolute total bust, but like a Ryan Leaf. But I think he's going to be. He's not going to be as good as what people think he's going to be. He's supposedly going to be the generational quarterback.
I think he's going to have a great career. I don't think he's going to have as good a career as Jaden Daniels.
I see sack merchants. I see him seeing ghosts already. I mean, I'm a little concerned for him in that respect, and he's still got this big ego. I was like, man, you need to like humble yourself, man, because players aren't responding to you, and obviously the O-line is letting you get battered every week. So what's that telling you?
I think there's a lot of this quarterback class is going to be one of the best that's going to be around for a good 5 years. Drake May's great. Drake May's great.
He's getting better every week, isn't he?
Bo Nix, great. He's getting better. Jaden Daniels, superstar. Caleb Williams, good. If anything, out of them four, I mean, Penix, you could say he's good at the moment. Out of all of them, and we haven't seen we haven't seen McCarthy yet, so we don't know what he's going to be like. You would put all of them out and say, where would you put Williams? I'd probably say 4th out of them.
Yeah. Well, right.
Drake May's better at the moment. Bo Nix is better. I
think, and obviously Daniels is better. So
yeah, miles.
I mean, even then, you could even potentially look at Nix. Nix is better.
Well, that's what I said. Nix is better. Yeah. So Bo Nix is better. Daniel. May is better. Daniel's better. So I would put Williams as 4th at the moment, in my opinion, just on what you've seen so far. And then Penix is coming up as well. So there's been a really good quarterback class this year in 24. Yeah, so yeah, but you're right. Does Cliff go anywhere? No, not for me.
I can't see him going. It's got to be the perfect situation for him to move on, I think. Because he's got a good year. Yes, he's got a good. He's got a great quarterback. He's got some pieces. Okay, he needs a few more, but he's got a couple of pieces he can work with. He's got all the money, and he's got a lot less strain as well because he's not head coach.
So looking at the standings then, and who's lost their head coach, who hasn't. Divisions. Let's have a look at divisions then. Who's got an opening then that you can see? Obviously the Jets. I mean, they're interviewing Ron Rivera at the minute. They haven't got a head coach, but who do you see getting fired on Black Monday? Is there anyone on there that you think, yeah, they're definitely going to go? And I'm probably looking realistically at our league. In our division. Do you think that Dayball's gone?
Yeah.
Do you think Joe Shane, their GM's gone, and it's a full, complete rebuild? I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I think when they let Saquon go and didn't replace it, I know Tracy's done a decent job there, being as a rookie running back in there, but Saquon, and then you see Saquon destroying the league.
And John Mara in Hard Knocks saying,
exactly,
I would have a real hard time sleeping. You know what I mean?
He was raging. So and I don't. I'd have fired Joe Shane right then. I'd have fired Shane right then. Gone. I'd have fired him right then as soon as you let him go. As soon as we couldn't get Saquon to resign, I'd have fired him straight away.
And was it me, or when I watched that, Dayball came across as a complete and utter prick?
Yeah, you can tell he's a fucking narcissist.
Absolute,
massive narcissist.
Straight up.
Yeah, so he needs to go. Shane needs to go. So obviously Giants are starting again.
Giants are having a full rebuild then.
Yeah,
so what about Dallas? Do you think McCarthy stays on because he's out of contract?
I think he probably does stay unless a Cliff or something like that wants to take that on. Like an up and coming stud star type guy who that Jerry can still control. Then that, but I think he comes back. I mean, it might be only a 1-year deal, but I can definitely see McCarthy coming back next year.
So looking at the South, I can't see anyone else in the South. I mean, there's an interim head coach at the Saints anyway. I think the Falcons, they're safe. I think Carolina Panthers under Canales is safe as well. First year in Seattle, safe. So you're not going to do anything there.
McVay safe.
McVay safe. Who's at Arizona? It's John Gannon at Arizona.
Yeah.
I think it might be.
Yeah, John Gannon. Yeah.
I think he's safe as well.
He'll be safe, yeah.
So I don't think there's many. Doug Peterson. He's 100% getting fired. Doug Peterson is 100% getting fired. He's been trying to get out there since October.
Fire me now. I don't want to be here anymore.
He has, mate. Did you honestly? I couldn't believe what I heard. It was week 12, and he said, "What's the one thing that needs to change here to get things better?" And he said, "The culture." You're the one who does the culture, Doug. What are you talking about? So yeah, he is 100% getting fired. Anyone else do you think that's going to get fired at all? I mean, are there going to be any shockers? What about Indianapolis? Do you think they could start again?
Who's their coach?
I don't know. It's the other former Philadelphia coordinator. Oh God, Colts.
I mean, they're mid, aren't they? At the moment, they're mid, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're like, and just missed out on playoffs. Didn't he? Lost last week.
Who is the Colts? Shane Steichen. That's who it is.
Steichen.
Yeah.
He's probably safe for another season. I think. I'll give him another season. If he hasn't improved, he'll be on the door next.
What about the Browns? Would they move on from Stefanski, possibly?
I think they're screwed either way. I mean, no one's going to want to touch that team. Let's face it. I mean, they're going to be in cap hell because of the quarterback situation out there. So even if you try and renegotiate it, it's still going to kill them down the line.
They've had Mike Vrabel on an interim coaching associate basis, and there's talk of him going there. You know what I mean? As the full-time head coach, which would be very interesting to see him get a second go round.
I mean, would I be surprised if he got fired? No, I wouldn't be surprised, but he's not one that wants the hot seat for me. Well, ultra hot seat yet.
Tennessee.
Again, who's there?
It's a young.
I think if you're young and only 1 year or something like that,
it's 1 year, first year. It's Bill Callahan. It's Bill Callahan.
Oh yeah, you'll get another shot. You'll get another year. I do think though, you definitely got the Bears. They're definitely needing one. The Saints definitely needing one. Jets definitely needing one. Giants needing one. So I think they're probably the 4.
Jags as well.
Jags 5. Yeah. So you probably got 5 teams there. That's probably gonna be available. Being honest with you, I don't think. I mean, there could be a Cleveland that might be an extra, but for me, I think there's the 5 at the moment.
Wow, there you go. Well, that just about does us. We've droned on for nearly an hour and a half here. But just before we go, we'll get your predictions for.
And Cliff, would Cliff want to be any of them? Just before we go, would Cliff want any of those teams?
No, not for me. Unless it's the only one I could think of, not talent wise, that if you physically know you're going to get a rebuild and you're going to go, yeah, I've got 5 years to do this project and I'm going to get my own GM and I'm going to get my own quarterback, is the Giants. I know it sounds mad, but that's the only real one that you can look at and say, Bears got a GM, it's not going to be them. Jags, they're not getting rid of their GM, that's not happening. Titans, probably not. Vegas, absolute shit show.
To be fair, Titans guy could get fired. I mean, he hasn't been great, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. You know, but Vegas, shit show. New Orleans Saints, cap hell, shit show. Not going to want to go there either. So...
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That makes sense to get a full 100% total teardown.
Dallas, you're going to work with Jerry.
That's what I mean. You've got either him or you've got who's the crazy guy at Vegas.
Mark something.
Is it Davis?
He's the owner. Like that. Mark Davis with his bowl head.
Yeah, with his ridiculous haircut. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's a crazy guy as well. So you don't want to. You don't want these guys. You don't want them guys as your owner. You know, you just don't want that. Especially if you're a guy who's got the choice, which Cliff will have the choice of. You know what I mean? Like all them teams would want him, but the
Giants. I mean, there's a new GM. There's all the Jets. There's a new GM in the Jets. There's a new.
But again, that's not been through with say they hired Cliff, and then Cliff goes, I'm happy to work with this guy, not the guy that they've already hired. You know what I mean?
They haven't got a GM in there at the minute. They fired their GM and they fired the head coach. Okay. No, so that's another one. There's both New York teams.
Two New York teams.
No at the moment because the Giants have still got both in place, but we think they're both going to get fired.
I think they're gone. 100%. I think they're gone. I mean, I really do.
I do too.
But yeah, I mean, so that'll be a kick in the balls, wouldn't it? If you went to the Giants, that'd be a kick in the balls.
Oh yeah, it would be. You're right.
You can go to the Jets if he wants.
Yeah, maybe. One I was going to say. What prediction for the weekend then for this weekend's game?
I think we win.
Okay.
But it's always family business. So I'm gonna say 28-17.
Oh, not far. I've gone 30-16.
Ah, okay.
So I think we win, but 30-16. I think we're out to a quite a good lead, like a 24-point lead or whatever, and then we just go right, like we say, second half is Marcus Mariota's show, and let him go for it.
I mean, that's the ideal scenario, man. That we just smoke in the first half and then just rest all the players. But yeah, let's pray for that.
Thanks everyone for being with us today. We obviously couldn't do it because of holidays and stuff to recap the Eagles game, but we got it in there eventually. Thanks for everybody in the chat: Jesse, Ian, Yam, Scott G, Brian, everybody who's stopped by. We really appreciate you. Tim Towner for putting questions in, Deluxe for putting questions in, and for being in the chat. Can't thank you all enough for constantly being here. We would talk to each other anyway, even if it was just me and Scouts. But you guys make it. Have a great new year. Thank you for staying with us. Can't thank you all enough for being here. And we'll see you next Thursday. And that about does us, I think, mate. You got anything else that you want to go over, or are you happy?
I'm happy, man. I'm happy.
Happy? Okay then, dude. We'll let you go on. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye.